let's talk about shoulds. I'm sure it's not news to you, and I'm not the first person to say that when we are thinking about should, what we're really doing is applying someone else's rules, regulations, and ideas onto ourselves, and then trying to shame ourselves or motivate ourselves into action using this should. The reality is that a lot of the shoulds that we have are actually what have got us to wherever we are. So any of our stuck situations, whenever I'm working with clients, I see so often that whenever we're stuck, it's really a should. There's lots of shoulds there getting in the way. Who I should be, how I should do things, what I should do, who I should do it with. And these shoulds have a way of stagnating us, but also keeping us kind of limited in our approaches, because we're working off rules and regulations that actually A, aren't good for us, B, probably aren't coming from us in the first place, and lastly are in an attempt to control something. So a lot of the time shoulds are a way of controlling ourselves or controlling others so that we can have a particular type of outcome. So for instance, I should be helpful. Right, that might sound like a lovely should, except it's a really clever way to control me and to stop me from doing things that are healthy and good for me. It's a really good way for me to stop myself, but it's also a really good way for anybody else who thinks I should do something to bring up shame in me for not doing it. So it's a really helpful thing to think about shoulds in the terms of shame, self-shaming and shaming. So how often do we tell others what they should or shouldn't do? That ultimately is attempting to shame someone instead of empowering someone to choose what they would like to do or what they don't want to do. And that's a far more empowered place. And I do hear an argument about it sometimes where people are saying, oh, well then, everybody would be selfish. Actually, I found the opposite. When people are living to what they believe is right and what feels right for them, rather than what they think they should be doing, people tend to be kinder, they tend to be more compassionate, they tend to be less resentful because they're living in alignment with themselves, and so they can kind of offer their best bits to others. And I just think that that's really important. When we're using should, we're shaming ourselves into particular behaviours or actions as some form of control. And also there's this underlying idea that we can't trust ourselves to do what's right for us and what's right for others, that we have to use all these shoulds and rules because actually we can't trust ourselves to make good decisions. So whenever you hear should, come back to I can trust myself to make good decisions. I don't need to shame myself into action. I don't need to live off external rules. I can make good, healthy internal choices, and see if that shifts your relationship with the term should.